Well, today I'm trying the second stage of an experiment, which is I'm going to try and grow some tomatoes inside the patio during the winter. A lot of what I'm doing can translate into to summer planting. Thus far I've filled up about half of this 5-gallon jug with potting soil. Now I'm putting in some mushroom compost. I'm going to mix it in. Want some nutrients down there. And then we're going to get this about halfway and add some water. Moisten down that bottom half. And then put some more potting soil in. Alright, so we got the bottom half nice and moist. I added some water, stirred it in a bunch. A lot of times you water into potting soil, it runs right through and out. And so watered and churned the soil, made sure it's all good and wet. Now we're going to go ahead and add some more soil. But what I'm doing in this pot will translate directly into putting tomatoes into your garden. You'll notice little hairs all along the base. Those are all potential roots. So what we're going to do is clip off the bottom stem, and then we're going to plant it deeper than where it already is, because what we're going to do is create a much better root system for the tomatoes to grow healthy and strong. Oh, one of the things we probably should tell you is indoors, in a pot, potting soil. Now it doesn't hold a lot of nutrients in it for very long. So you saw me adding the mushroom compost. It's to hopefully provide some extra nutrition in here for a little bit longer period of time. And then the other thing that you can do, it's not necessary. Tomatoes love this, and it's bone meal, and you don't need to be exact. So you can just reach in and just pour some in there, right at the base of the roots, right where they're going to go. You don't need to put a little soil over it or anything like that. And then hopefully this is still a little bit wet. Oh, again, we're just going to use my fingers. We're going to snip off. You can use a pair of clippers if you want. And we're just going to snip the bottom one off. And we're going to squeeze this red Solo cup. And again, keep things cheap. You don't need to. I have a feeling the roots are pretty extensive in here. And they are. That's not ideal. So what we're going to do is get them in here to the point where we can fill them up with soil to probably just below this stem right here. And he's gonna have he's already nice and wet, so the soil is. So it should be an immediate, fairly good home, and he's gonna appreciate finally having a little room to grow. You saw those roots, that wasn't ideal for a tomato. You don't want them wrapped around. If you see them wrapped around like this, it's just not ideal for the tomato. So that one was on me. And we may end up snipping this off because I don't necessarily want it touching the soil. And I'm not packing the stuff down, just kind of leveling it off for watering purposes. And I'm gonna go ahead and snip that one off too. He's got enough to grow. So there you go, there's our tomato. And I'll show you, like I said, I'll show you a little bit about this indoor setup. One of the things that I always struggle with, and this is me personally, some people are great at it, is overwatering when you're container planting. So I've been very careful about it this year. What you want to avoid is root rot. And too much water is just as bad as not enough. So ideally, tomatoes need about 6 hours of sunlight a day, and in the winter, especially indoors, it's not something it's really hard to get them 6 hours of sunlight. So I've set up a system of UV lights, and some things are doing really well. Well, thank you very much for watching, and good luck in the spring.